And we are live. This is Ring the Bell podcast number 27. Today we're going to talk about Andrade, Dorticos, Rob Brant, some of the other fights that happened over the weekend, and some of the news in boxing. I'm here with my co-host Nathan. How are you, Nathan?
I'm good, mate. Yeah.
It's been a hot minute. We missed last week's podcast due to unforeseen circumstances, but back with a vengeance this week and a lot to discuss. We're going to start with something funny, something a little bit amusing, a little bit light-hearted. Chisora has changed management, and he is now managed by David Haye. What do we think of this? What's going on here?
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is rather odd. It is rather odd. So basically, I think it's got a lot to do with trying to get Chisora to fight Joe Joyce. I just have this feeling that Chisora, he'll do the right thing for Chisora, but he'll try and use Chisora. That's kind of how I feel about David Haye. He'll make Chisora some money and some good last fights, but if he can use Chisora to make Joe Joyce look bigger, he will try and do that. So it does seem to be a bit of a weird move from Chisora, but Chisora is just full of weird moves, isn't he? So hard to know what to say about this one.
I just think it's all a bit funny, and obviously money talks. That's all it is. It's just based on money, this whole move.
I hope so. I hope Chisora gets paid well out of it. I hope it's not some false promises or
Look,
something.
The two are never going to be friends. Do you know what I mean? They're never going to be good friends. It's
no.
Just a money move. You know, obviously he's still promoted by Eddie Hearn, but he's just managed by David Haye. I thought Steve Goodwin did a good job.
He doesn't actually have. I think he's only got one fight left on Eddie Hearn's contract, so it could be that David Haye's trying to sweep in there and be his promoter next as well. I kind of did have that thought as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It looks like Dillian White versus Chisora isn't happening now as well. Yeah, it's the rematch. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like Dillian White's going to still fight on that date, December 22, but not on a pay-per-view, which would be the best thing, really, because obviously we've got the other pay-per-view, Frampton-Warrington. So you don't really want to have two pay-per-views on the same night. It's not ideal. It's not good for the fans. So, to be honest, I'm kind of glad in a way that we don't have two pay-per-views on the same night. That's probably for the best. Let's move swiftly on. Did you see the Dorticos Masternak fight?
I did. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
It was a good fight. I mean, Masternak's kind of a gatekeeper now, though, isn't he? I mean, it was close in points, but I feel like Dorticos did enough to win it fairly convincingly. Masternak troubled him in some rounds, but he didn't look like a major threat anymore. I mean, Masternak's never been a major threat, but he looks like he's lost a step. Dorticos did well to get the win. I look forward to seeing his next fight. Who will his next fight be against? Who else is in the bracket of the cruiserweight?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, so he'll be in the semi-finals. We don't actually know yet, so hang on, let me just read this quickly. Yeah. So I don't actually know who Dorticos will face next. Oh, next challenge, Andrew Tabiti in the semi-final. Andre Tabiti, better be ready. Dorticos, you know what? I'd probably pick him to beat Tabiti. Probably the better fighter. But a good fight, worth watching. Dorticos, you know, he had the loss in the World Super Series last year. But he's come back with a decent enough win, and he looks promising. He looks promising. Emmanuel Rodriguez, Jason Maloney. Did you see that fight?
I didn't know.
It was a good win by Emmanuel Rodriguez. Very good fight all round. In fact, somebody here in this boxing news article was saying it's a fight of the year contender. I don't think it was a fight of the year contender, but it was a very good fight. The only problem for Rodriguez is he's now got to face Inoue in the semi-final. And I probably predict Inoue to handle him fairly easily. It'll be a good fight. It'll probably be Inoue's toughest challenge, but I don't think Inoue will struggle, even with the size disadvantage that he will have against Rodriguez. I think he will probably stop Rodriguez in the middle rounds. Just have this feeling about
the first round like he's done to the other.
He's a bit of a scary dude, is Inoue. He hits like a freak for his weight division. So yeah, possibly.
He's a tiny little bugger, isn't he?
He's tiny, but he hits like a mule, obviously. He's knocking everybody out left, right, and centre, which is rare for that weight class. So, yeah. Brant Murato, did you catch that?
I did, yeah. It was a good fight. I enjoyed it. I thought.
Yeah. Sorry, you first.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good fight. I thought I was impressed with how Murato was outboxed through periods of the fight.
Yeah, Rob Brant. We all had a go at Rob Brant for being put into the 168 World Super Series. And to be honest with you, we can still have that problem because he's never a super middleweight. He looks great at middleweight, though. It's a big fight for him, a big win for him. And, GGG was looking to fight Murata in Japan for a big payday, a big fight. So maybe now Rob Brant might even get the GGG fight. I would expect GGG to batter Rob Brant up, though, to be fair. Rob Brant's a weird guy. He's kind of on the fringe of world level, where he can beat some of the top guys in the division, but he cannot beat the elite of the division. He wouldn't stand a chance against Canelo, GGG. I'd pick Charlo to beat him. I'd probably pick Andrade to beat him, Billy Joe Saunders. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a good win, but it's hard to see Rob Brant making a dent at the top. However, he does now have a WBA world title. So, fair play to Rob Brant. Good performance, good win.
I have to be honest, I never thought I'd say the words he would ever win a belt. To be honest,
No, but I mean, it's a perfectly legitimate fight. Murata's a top guy. I would say it's probably not a world title fight. Like, we've got Canelo, GGG, Charlo, Andrade, and then Rob Brant. I don't really put him up there with those other guys, but it's still a great win, and he's world champion. Fair play to him. Now, here's a fight that I didn't actually watch. I'm hoping you might have done. Mark Flanagan versus Arsene Goulamirian.
I watched a bit of it. It wasn't a great fight.
It was dull. I tried to watch it. Sorry, you first.
I switched off after 4 or 5 rounds, went straight to knockout. Mark Flanagan's a very poor fighter.
Yes, I can't disagree. People are saying, like, there's a comment here in some foreign language, and it just says 45 minutes de video et on passe à la fin du combat, which I think means that was a 45-minute video of boxing with no boxing. I think that's what that roughly translates to. And for me, it felt like that early on. It was a poor fight, not a top quality fight, and I couldn't actually suffer through it considering how many other boxing matches there were to watch. So yeah, we will quickly skim over that. It's interesting, obviously, because it's part of the World Boxing Super Series, but other than that, I couldn't get interested in that fight or care about it too much. There were some other fights though that I did want to talk about. Let me see. Did you happen to catch Mike Perez's comeback fight?
I saw a bit of it. It was a pretty close fight. It wasn't anything spectacular.
No, he didn't look great, did he? It's weird. Ever since he looked quite good at heavyweight at one point, Mike Perez, but ever since he went to cruiserweight, he's looked good in some fights and just average in others. And yeah, it was a solid enough performance. He got the win, but it wasn't special. It wasn't anything that made you think he's going to be a threat to the top of the division again. But yeah, interesting. Did you happen to catch the Queensbury Promotions Frank Warren card from Brentwood Centre, Brentwood, the basically the fucking leisure centre in Brentwood?
Oh, which one was that? The court?
This was the court.
Yeah. I caught. Hello. Hello.
The Cantalano.
I watched the court card. Yeah.
Yes.
I watched the whole court fight. That was a really good fight. It was close. It was brutal.
Oh, it was a great fight. So there were actually some good little scraps on the card. Umar Sadiq fought Zach Chelly. That was the first fight. It was actually it was all right. Boy Jones beat Lester Cantilano, and that was a terrible fight. Lester Cantilano was 4-21. Boy Jones is 17-1-1, and he really needs to start fighting opposition that is somewhat decent again. It's all well and good to have a load of wins on your record, but once you've had a loss, you might as well stop fighting the bums. You've kind of got to go in there at the deep end and prove yourself now, Boy Jones. I'm not interested in seeing any more of these throwaway fights. Nathan Gorman, I think he fought Sokolowski again.
I watched it and it was pointless because the two spar with each other and they fought before.
Yeah, he knocked out Sokolowski before. Exactly, it was a nothing fight, another terrible fight, another throwaway fight.
I'm not going to be too because I like watching Nathan Gorman fight. I like to see him progress the way he is.
I do too, but he's 13-0 now. They've got to start putting him in there with Kevin Johnson, Jason Gavin. Who's the guy Tyson Fury just beat? Pianetta? Yeah,
why is he really moving so slow? I don't understand.
I don't know either. I mean, maybe they're just trying to get off his puppy fat. They're trying to get him into good physical man strength shape for when his career really gets going and gets heavy. That's kind of what I feel is possibly happening.
I think he's a late bloomer, isn't he, as a fighter? I think he's
100%, 100%. And we have to remember how young he actually is still. Lucian Reed versus Castillo. I mean, you shouldn't be fighting guys with 47 losses. There's no need. There was another fight on the card, but I mean, this one's acceptable because it was a debut. Kahiaman Agriarco Hines fought a guy who was 11-52. Now that's acceptable when it's your debut. Lucian Reed is 7-0. He doesn't need to be fighting guys with nearly 50 losses. This is just fucking crazy. It's pointless. It's a waste of time. Bradley Skeet versus Fernando Valencia. Now, obviously, this is Bradley Skeet's comeback fight. It wasn't terrible. It was a good performance. It gets him back in the win column. But, you know, I mean, Bradley Skeet's a weird cat. He's got world elite boxing skills, for sure. Elite level, like the top of the division level boxing skills, boxing IQ. But it seems he's always going to have questions about his chin now. It's going to be a big problem for Bradley Skeet. Is he'll be able to get back up to the top level, no problem. He'll beat everyone at British level. He'll beat European level guys. I mean, he should beat European level guys. But when he comes up against the European champion or the world champion, he's always going to have that fear of getting knocked out again because it happens so easily over in Spain. Anthony Yard fight. Did you watch this? Because I couldn't stomach it.
I did, and it was a shame crap. We have to watch it every time. And now I just think he's just an overhyped, guy who hasn't got the talent. That's what I think. Seriously.
He's not going anywhere, is he? He doesn't change his style. He's still got terrible footwork. He carries his hands low. He punches he punches from weird angles. Some of the things he does right are very good. He clearly has power. He clearly is good at cutting off the ring in a certain style, and he's good at putting on pressure and breaking people down. But when he comes up against someone with good skill set and good power, he's going to have big problems. Big problems. Bivol lights him up. I think Callum Johnson probably beats him. Beterbiev beats him. I think Groves at 175 probably beats him. I think Callum Smith at 175 definitely beats him.
With you here, and I'm going to be honest as I can. I used to like him at one time. Now I think he's an overrated, hype job. Who basically he just refuses to fight his British rivals. What he does, he fights foreign people that are ranked, foreign fighters who are ranked higher than the British fighters who are not as good, and that's his way of getting the touch. So when he gets the touch, then he can finally get it.
The problem is he's had a title shot, and he oh shit! I got someone banging next door now. So got some construction going on.
But basically, he's just like, it's just frustrating to watch him because his trainer. Have you ever seen his trainer in interviews? His trainer sounds like an idiot.
His whole team are yes men.
It's pathetic. It's embarrassing.
His whole team tell him that he's the greatest thing on the planet. This is the Lions camp. We're the toughest men in the world. Like it is horrific to listen to. He's going to be so depressed when he loses as well, because once you've been hyped up to be that big, you start to believe your own hype. And I agree with you. His team and his manager and his trainer are building him up for something very, very bad in the future.
In an interview, he basically said, he's good. He's doing it this way. We're doing it the Mexican way. I'm thinking, when I look at him, I'm thinking, you fucking idiot. Wake up. You've got a fighter who hasn't even conquered British level yet.
Yeah.
He beat people ranked in the top 15 against who are super middleweight.
You always hear Frank Warren say, "Oh, he's moved past British level." Well, you can't move past British level if you haven't beaten anybody at British level. That doesn't make any sense. Like you skipped it. You didn't move past it. You fucking jumped over it.
But what you say, it's good management. What they're doing with him, it's brilliant management, isn't it? The way they're doing it. They're steering him away from all the people that are good and into a title shot. If in next year, if he keeps going, he will get a title shot, and then he'll get destroyed and he'll make a lot of money.
I can't argue with that, but I think he'll probably even turn down title shots to just take shitty fights. Anthony Yarde will have a title shot when he's like 28 or 29, and they won't even let him go anywhere near one before then. And I think that is smart. You are right. There is something smart about it. He had no amateur career or experience, but it's just not what the fans want. We don't care about Walter Gabriel Sequeira. We would much rather watch him fight Hosea Burton, Frank Buglioni, Joshua Buatsi. There's great fights out there for him at British level. And if he was to win one of them...
Buatsi would kill him. And we'll know.
No, but if he was to beat... He probably beats Buglioni on his sheer athleticism. And because of that, it would be a worthwhile fight. He'd learn so much. He's being robbed of his experience fights. Like, you look at Billy Joe Saunders, right? And we'll come on to Billy Joe Saunders afterwards because we've got to talk about the Andrade fight as well. You look at Billy Joe Saunders and the fights he had at British level, they perfectly got him ready for the fights at world level. Perfectly. John Ryder, Nick Blackwell, Chris Eubank Jr., constant step up of tough British opposition. And it's just a shame because that's what the fans love. The fans want to know who both guys are. They want to give a shit. I mean, Walter Gabriel Sequeira. Who? Who cares?
Some roadster.
Who cares? Like Gary Corcoran, Johnny Garton. Did you catch that?
I did, yeah. We've already talked about it, haven't we, Gary? We've already talked about it.
No, we didn't actually. We talked about everything else on the card. But I didn't see this fight yet. I've got it in my bookmarks to go and watch.
In the second, it was very close. In the first round, I would say that Corcoran won. The second round, Corcoran, was it not Corcoran? Garton had a cut above his eye. Then it was getting worse throughout the fight. Then in about round 4 or 5, round 4, he started to take over, Garton did, and then he stopped him with a nice left hook in the 11th round. The ref stopped it. There was blood everywhere.
Yeah, I heard that. I did hear it was a nasty match. I will definitely go and watch that in the very near future then. So this brings us on to a little topic that's kind of a four-way topic, actually. Andrade beat.
Oh,
who did he beat? No, I didn't fucking watch it. I couldn't.
Let me find this now.
Yeah, I couldn't. Demetrius Andrade wins WBO title against Walter Kutadukwa. Yeah. Calton Dokwa. That's easy.
Right. Basically, what happened was in the first round, he was all over Walter, and then the second round he knocked him down. But then, as he fell on the floor, he punched Walter in the head.
I saw that. I did actually see that, and I would say
if he'd have done, I think he knocked him down twice. Then in the fourth round, he knocked him down again.
If he'd have done that punch on the floor to Billy Joe Saunders, he probably wouldn't have got out of the arena alive.
No, he wouldn't.
The Gypsy fans would have jumped the ring at that point. You can't hit a man when he's down. He's lucky to not be immediately disqualified for that. Immediately. In my eyes, he's not really the champion. Walter Dokwa is the champion by disqualification.
Because I saw to tell you what was embarrassing about this fight. The fact that this Walter guy was even in there in the first place is embarrassing. The guy was terrible. I'm telling you what the worst part of it was that he got knocked down 5 times and Andrade hasn't got the power at middleweight to beat the top guys. He just hasn't got it.
I see that. He did look skillful, though, in there. Like, I saw some highlights of the fight, and he did look classy, flashy, fast punches. I just feel like the whole fight stunk. Eddie Hearn is a snake, an absolute snake. He deserves to be cut sideways for what he did to me. I hope the Gypsies find him and cut him up. Seriously, they should cut him up. What he did is snitch. So he got someone in the Ingle camp to snitch, and that's why he demanded VADA testing, because he knew the substance Billy Joe Saunders was taking wasn't banned under UCAD, VADA, or USADA. So he specifically forced VADA testing to get Billy Joe Saunders stripped so that Andrade wouldn't have to fight a hard fight. That's exactly what Eddie Hearn did. And it's scummy. And I hope some of the Gypsy lads catch up to him at some point and tell him, leave him a scar that reminds a man why they don't treat other men like that. No, it's low, man. I've got no time for that. No time for that.
I do believe that if Billy Joe Saunders had been in the other ring, there's no way that Andrade would have won that fight. There's no way he'd beat Billy Joe Saunders.
100%. But what disgusts me about it is it was so planned from the start. He had a snitch in the Ingle camp who knew Billy Joe Saunders was taking this substance, or knew that he had a nasal spray, or knew something, and that's why they forced VADA testing for the fight. There is no... It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence.
I know it is, yeah. But what I'm saying is I don't like it any more than you. We've lost another talented world champion, due to no fault of his own. It's politics.
I would say he shouldn't have been taking the nasal spray in the first place. However, basically, VADA are irrelevant. They're done now. Nobody should be using them anymore. They should be cut out of the sport. And they need to immediately adopt VADA, USADA, and UCAD's the same policies. If they don't, no one is ever going to sign up for them ever again after this debacle. Why would you? Why would you?
What upsets me is we got robbed of a good fight. We got robbed of, of seeing a really good fight.
What disgusts me is snitches, and I know someone told Eddie Hearn to force Billy Joe Saunders into VADA testing. There is no, it doesn't just happen like that. That's not a coincidence. It's not an accident. He knew something was up. That's why he forced VADA testing, and I think VADA should be ashamed. I think the Massachusetts Board of Control should be ashamed. I think they should be stripped of all licensing powers anyway, regardless. I don't think I don't really perceive that Boston, Massachusetts should have any control over whether a UK fighter can fight or not. I don't understand that. Imagine if Floyd Mayweather was fighting in England, and he was fighting Manny Pacquiao in London, and they said Floyd Mayweather had tested positive for a substance. Do you think he would have the hearing in the UK, or do you think he'd go back to America and have his hearing there? I think the Americans would only ever have their hearing in their home country. So why does Billy Joe Saunders have to do a hearing in a foreign country? Either the UK Boxing Board of Control have licensed him to fight and he's ready to fight, or he's not. But he was licensed. The UKAD said it was fine. The British Boxing Board of Control said it was fine. Only Boston. And I have a large feeling that there's even more underhandedness going on there, and that Eddie Hearn paid them to make that decision as well. If all of that is true, I don't wish death upon anyone, but I do hope for the karmic luck he has sent out in the world to be returned swiftly back to him. I think it's disgusting. Billy Joe Saunders is really still the champion. Andrade is a faker, a complete poser. He talks to shite as well. I've been listening to his interviews for the last few days. There might not be a more self-congratulatory boxer in all of boxing other than Eubank Jr. Like, he's like, oh, I've won the strap. I'm the bet. Like, you won the strap off a bum. You're a bum. There's bum fights going on over here. Like, if that's the start of DAZN's fucking business, if that's the start of their shows, what a great piece of luck that was. Like, what a shit show.
But boxing's always been like this, with certain promoters. He's done a Don King, basically. And I'm shocked at Eddie Hearn's behaviour, I have to be honest, It is shocking. It is disrespectful. But the best way Billy Joe Saunders is come back and win another world title and prove, you know what I mean? And prove it all again. That's the only way he can get his belt back.
Whilst all of that's true, I just feel like it's pointless. Like, he could get his belt back, get into another big fight, and just have that promoter try and play some games as well. There's certain fighters that it's just like, what's the point now? Like, what is the point? I am better than everyone in the division. They don't even want to fight me. They'd rather trump up some fucking bizarre charges about a stimulant. This is the dumb thing I keep seeing as well. People talking about steroids. It's not even close to a steroid. It's like taking a little bump of cocaine. Like, it really doesn't help you performance-wise. It really wouldn't help you in any noticeable way. And Victor Conte, he can get the bullet too. He can literally suck the end of my fucking tailpipe. 10 times stronger than clenbuterol. He can fucking do one. He's got no credibility when it comes to drugs anyway. Why would he even pipe up? I don't know why someone hasn't cut his existence from the plane of this earth already, actually.
I think
he is a scum.
I know it's hard to accept. We just have to accept it's happened, and Billy Joe Saunders and the boxing world can learn from it,
I agree. I mean, in some ways, I actually agree with VADA that you probably shouldn't be taking this, but I also don't think they have the legitimacy, authority to step in and be the only company that has this distinction for in and out of competition. That means Billy Joe Saunders would be banned.
had been in England, this fight would have gone ahead. You know,
if this fight had been under UCAD, USADA, WADA, or any other drug testing agency other than VADA, the fight would have gone ahead. Only VADA have this problem. And so
it's only voluntary, isn't it? With VADA, do you know what I mean? It's not like...
It's voluntary, and here's where it gets really scummy. The Massachusetts Board of Control are under WADA, not VADA. So they specifically applied rules that don't apply to them or apply in any other fight, right? They don't even have drugs. Massachusetts Board of Control don't even have official drugs testing, but they follow the VADA code, and they apply the WADA code, and they applied the VADA code. So it makes no sense. They specifically applied another organization's rules that they have never done before just to get the fight not to happen. It's the most scummy thing that's ever happened in boxing in the last 10 years. And the real sad thing about it is now we will never ever see Frank Warren work with Eddie Hearn ever again. If there was any chance that that fight had of bridging the gap between Matchroom and Box Nation, it is gone. It is gone. It is going to be retaliation and lawsuits. Frank Warren's already suing. He's suing Matchroom. He's suing the Boston Commission.
10 times worse than what Eddie Hearn's ever done, you know. Ripped a fighter off so badly, a fighter shot him. You know that kind of tells you what he's really like, don't it? You know, I don't want to be nasty.
I don't disagree with that, but in this circumstance, I would say it's not really relevant about Frank Warren's previous shit, because what we're talking about is the individual fighter, and he has never screwed. He's been good to Billy Joe, really. And I think he'll stand by him as well. I think what's very likely is the Massachusetts Board of Control are going to be put out of business. I think they are. I think they are, because they didn't follow their own rules or laws. They followed basically what Eddie Hearn told them to jump, and they said how high. And that you can't have promoters controlling state boards for boxing. So I hope Frank wins this lawsuit. I think he will. I think they've got a very good case, and I hope VADA is utterly fucking shamed out of the sport, or at least shamed to change their policies to be in line with every other organisation.
Yeah. Shall we move on to our next subject?
Indeed, otherwise I will just rage.
Yeah, you'll lose it.
Kevin Farmer versus James Tennyson.
Yeah, I watched that.
Kevin Farmer impressed me. He really impressed me, actually. He was probably the best fight on this card. I felt James Tennyson did okay at points, but he never really stood a chance against Farmer. Farmer's, for someone with 4 losses, he fights very confident, and he fights with a style that's quite offensive and quite attacking. So, Tevin Farmer's an interesting guy. Let's see where he goes next. Kid Galahad won a very easy fight, I thought, against Toka Clary. And there's not much to say about that fight other than Kid Galahad is now apparently the mandatory for the winner of Frampton Warrington. So that's quite interesting.
He's done nothing to even get that.
I mean, he's 24-0, and he's beaten some good opposition. Like who did he beat that was quite at least recognised? Jose Cayetano.
We're talking years ago. Really, he did a lot.
Cayetano was 2017. But 2014, 2013, he beat Jazz Dickinson.
And he had that drugs ban for a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, he probably doesn't deserve the world title shot, but who else does? That's kind of the problem there. It's interesting. Interesting. I thought it was a good win, but I think he was expected to win that convincingly anyway. And then obviously Katie Taylor had a unanimous decision win against Cindy Serrano. Another shutout. I mean, even these girls that they're saying can give Katie Taylor some problems, just don't give her any problems.
It's pretty bad. I mean, good performance by Katie Taylor. At one point, she was goading her. Did you watch the whole fight?
Yeah, I did.
She was goading her, wasn't she? Like round 7 or something.
Yeah, about round 7, round 8. Come and fight. Come and actually fight. Yeah, it was, it was all right. I still have all the same complaints. I think the bras make body shots more difficult and weird, and it just looks weird. And I also think the 2-minute rounds just don't. They're over too quickly. It just feels too weird.
Why did her corner not pull her out? They should have pulled her out in like round 6. Really?
I don't know. I think you. There's a couple of things to that. You get more money if you don't get knocked out. Sometimes there's a bonus, and there's also rules against fighting again quickly if you've been knocked out or stopped.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the times when you see these people try and survive till the last round, it's got to do with they want to fight again next month.
Isn't it better to do things with people's for the better of people's health? Not taking necessary beatings.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, women don't hit that hard. Is all I can think to that. Like, if it was 2 men, I'd definitely agree. Pull him out, get him out of there, stop him from getting hurt. But 2 women, I mean, is she going to get that badly hurt? She might get hit, but is it? It's not. Katie Taylor's obviously got some power, but she doesn't stop everybody. She's not a knockout artist.
Above most of the people in that division. I mean, to be honest,
10 classes above. Like it's absurd. Even the people who are supposed to be in her class can't touch her. So, good win, but still not exciting for me. They're gonna have to find. To be honest with you, Katie Taylor's almost just too good. Like, they kind of need to find lower level boxers that actually match with each other's skill level. That's what's going to make it more exciting. Maybe some domestic rivalries.
Tyson.
Sure. I mean, you know what I'm saying, though. Domestic rivalries need to happen. It needs to be sort of British level. You can't just have this one elite woman and then everyone else is shit.
You've got the other girl who's in a division, haven't you? Or is she a division below? What's her name? Chantel Cameron. Is she a division below? I forget.
I think they're similar. They're similar enough weight class, but
Katie would destroy her. Seriously.
Possibly, probably. I think so. Chantel Cameron is very good, but obviously Katie Taylor is elite, has a lot more experience. I think that fight might happen, but later down the line, kind of thing. I can't imagine they want Chantel in with Katie Taylor now. There's no need for it. So the only other fight I know that happened that we haven't talked about is Scott Quigg. He stopped some absolute nobody. Mario
saw the knockout, and that's all there is to say. It was just a simple fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was it didn't even look like a great stoppage. Like, he's hitting him on the ropes, just swinging from the hips, and the ref stops it, and the guy who stopped puts his arms out like, what? I'm still blocking. I don't. None of them. He got hit once, twice, 3 times. Okay, I mean, he was sloppy with his defense. He got 4 straight punches, but he still got all of his senses about him, and it's only round 2. I don't think that needed to be stopped. I actually think it was one of the worst stoppages I've seen in years.
Well, it was a fight that he needed for his confidence, wasn't it? Because after suffering a defeat last time out of the beating he took against Valdez.
Sure, but he still looks shit. And what do you learn from a fight like that?
Nothing.
How are you going to beat Valdez off that win? Like, it just makes no sense to me. The whole thing, like, I don't get it sometimes. Boxing can be weird in some areas, and I think Scott Quigg is not far from retirement because the style he fights is just for that weight class as well. It's stupid. It's dumb. He takes he tries to fight defensively, but still takes big shots. And then when he tries to fight offensively, he's too open. So, yeah, I don't know what to think about Scott Quigg at this moment in time.
I mean, he's had a good career. You know, he's had a good career.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lovable idiot. He's stupid as fuck. He trains hard. He lives boxing. I can't hate on him too much, but he's just not an exciting fighter. That's the truth of it. Scott Quigg is not. I never think to myself, oh, great, Scott Quigg's on the card. That's just not a thought I've ever had. So, yeah.
He's just like one of those British fighters that's, that's always been there. Do you know what I mean? That's how I see him.
Right. Manny Pacquiao has signed with Al Heyman. Bizarre. It seems like he's a bit old to be trying to make a new career under Al Heyman, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, everybody seems to be signing with either Al Heyman or Eddie Hearn, so it's not surprising too much, but it's just I thought he'd probably stay with Arum until he retired. I mean, he's been with him so long that it's hard to.
Really? What was he? 30? He should have retired when he lost to Mayweather and never come back. There's no need for him to come back.
No, I agree. But he knows he can make another $30 million probably.
How long ago was the Mayweather fight? 4 years ago.
2015, 3 years ago, yeah.
Jesus, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Time goes fast, mate.
The belt was just, it just prolonged his career, probably that little bit longer.
Well, it probably got him the Amir Khan fight or a possible Mayweather rematch. So, I mean...
He's meant to be fighting Adrian Broner next.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
Pacquiao versus Adrian Broner. I just couldn't care less about either guy. One's a perennial drug cheat who has been cheating since the age of about 26 years old. The other is just a fucking moron who's in jail more often than he's in a ring. So who cares about either guy? Honestly, I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, I agree.
What a terrible fight. And Adrian Broner wanted what, like $5 million a fight from Eddie Hearn? Yeah, okay, maybe you get $5 million for fighting Pacquiao, maybe. But that's the only fight out there that Adrian Broner can make any money in now, anyway.
I mean, to be fair, he's made a career. He's won 4 world titles. He's had a good career. He's just been managed very carefully. Yeah. That's all it is.
What Broner?
Yeah, he's carefully managed, wasn't he? When he won all
he was at first, yeah. I mean, he's not now. Adrian Broner's a fucking loser. Like, yeah, he's a full-time world champion, but he's actually just a fucking loser. He's not very smart. He's always in and out of fucking trouble with the law. He's probably wasted... Like, sure, he's probably made his money. He's probably okay for money. But he probably could have made at least double what he has done in his career.
I tell you what, I don't want to give this man any more time. Forget him, to be honest.
Sure. So, I mean, Mayweather-Pacquiao is still being talked about.
I don't want to see it.
I'd rather see it than the Broner fight, to be honest with you. Got to be completely honest. I'd rather see Pacquiao-Mayweather than Broner-Pacquiao. Jesus. At least Mayweather-Pacquiao is interesting because Mayweather's been out of the ring for so long. James DeHale set to fight Chris Eubank Jr. What do we think? Are they going to do it?
Yeah. Again, I'm not really fussed whether this fight happens or not. I don't want to be negative. I want to see it. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Oh, I'd be way more excited for DeHale Eubank than Pacquiao Broner. But I agree with you. It's one of those fights. If it happens, it happens. That's the thing. That's the thing. They want to put it on fucking ITV box office, and it's like, I don't know about that. Chris Eubank Jr. hasn't had a good win in a while. De Hale hasn't looked great in a long while. It's not a pay-per-view fight. I tell you what it is. It's a great undercard fight for a pay-per-view. But it's not a standalone pay-per-view. No way. No way. Maybe Groves De Hale is still pay-per-view. Just. But De Hale Eubank? It's not going to do good numbers, is it? Like it might do 200,000 buys, but it's not going to push more than that, I don't think. No way. No way. But it is a big London bout, isn't it? I mean, it's going to sell out a 17,000 arena easily. So, to be honest with you, yeah, it's a good fight. I hope it happens. But I'm like you. I'm not sat here super hyped for it or anything.
But
yeah.
how I think the fight ends is basically, I expect De Gale to win this fight. I think he's got very little left in the tank. I think
De Hale will win the fight if his shoulder's okay, and he boxes. If he decides to go to war with Eubank, he could lose because Eubank can tear it up on the inside. He can war with people, and if Eubank lets him inside too easily, I mean, if De Hale lets Eubank inside too easily, it'll be a horrible fight for De Hale. A horrible fight.
You can say that Eubank has caught him probably just at the right time.
100%. A year ago, I would have said De Hale wins easily. Now I say De Hale wins, but it's only just. So yeah, it's interesting for sure. There was some other news. There's some very big news actually that we need to talk about. Very, very big news. Basically, Canelo has signed with DAZN. And that's actually the biggest news probably in the last 5-10 years of boxing in terms of historic deals being made. 11 fights, ridiculous amounts of money. What was it? 11 fights, 336 million. Yeah, 365 million. Works out at about, I don't know, what is it? 36.5 divided by 11. 36.5 divided by 11. It's like 365, sorry, divided by 11. It's like 33 million a fight. So he will get paid $33 million for fighting Rocky Fielding.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Well, how much will Rocky Fielding get?
Nothing. Nah, he'll get like 2.5 million or something like that.
I still don't understand why Rocky Fielding's taking the fight. Obviously, it would be a career high payday. That's probably the only reason.
Do you think Rocky Fielding was ever going to get to fight as the main event?
Never. No, never.
On an American pay-per-view? Because that's why he's taking the fight. This is the only chance he'll ever get to be on that stage. And
so he'll get $500,000 for this fight, £500,000.
No, I reckon he'll get £2.5 million for the fight.
Well, that's still life-changing money, isn't it? You know.
Oh, 100%. Like if you fight Canelo, or you fight Mayweather, or you fight Anthony Joshua, and you're just the bum who's expected to lose, you're still set up for life. So
if I did, I'd still want $3 million for the fight. Seriously, I want $3 million.
I would, but you can't fight too much. As long as the money is over $1 million or over $2 million, you can't fight too much because the main thing is to get the fight, get the payday, get the life-earning money.
He deserves the payday. He really does.
If by some miracle he can knock Canelo out,
I'd love it. I'd love it to happen. But it won't.
Same. I just don't think it will. No. I mean, the size difference is enormous, but
with the career he's had, he's turned his career around. This he deserves his pay, though, don't he? Let's not make any bones about it. He deserves it.
Sure. I just think it's a very foregone conclusion. Basically, Canelo is buying that title off him. That's kind of how it works. What I'll be interested to see is, I think what's going to happen is Danny Jacobs will get the next shot at Canelo.
Yeah.
For sure, because Eddie Hearn is quite good at manoeuvring his guys to fight each other.
Yeah, but I think he'll vacate the belt after he wins the belt. He'll vacate it, Canelo, and then it will be John Ryder can fight for it because John Ryder's got a mandatory coming up. But we'll come to that. We'll come to that in a minute because we've got cards to talk about, haven't we, for next week?
Yes. I actually was going to go over that just right now because there's actually a shit ton of fights this weekend. We got Reggie Prograis versus Terry Flanagan. We got Kubrat Pulev versus Hughie Fury. Daniel Jacobs versus Sergey Derevchenko, who's actually a beast, so that's a good fight. Ivan Baranchyk versus Anthony Yigit. John Ryder versus Andrei Sirotkin. Maribel Ramirez versus Ania Secchi. Dominic Bozel versus Enrico Colling. And that's it.
Well, let's do some predictions before we go.
Yeah, sure.
Before we do that, Tyson Fury's brother's time with Frank White. Tommy Fury.
I saw that. Tommy Fury. I mean...
Never heard of him before.
It's weird, isn't it? I didn't know he had a brother, especially of that age.
He's got another brother as well, who's like 28.
I know about the 28-year-old brother. I didn't know about the 19-year-old brother.
Neither did I.
It's crazy. Have you seen the pictures, gym pictures?
Yeah, he can't be a Fury, can he? I mean,
he's a Fury, but I think he's ripped up on steroids as well. Like, he's absolutely... I'm looking at his arms here, and he looks bigger than fucking Dominic Ingle.
But what I'm saying is he doesn't look like he's from the same family as Tyson. Do you know what I mean? Frank, it's weird.
No, there's a different dad or a different mum going on there. 100%. 100%. There's a different dad or mum going on. Oh, it has to be. Probably different mum. Probably same dad, younger mum. That's my guess. That's my guess. But yeah, that's interesting. Let's make some predictions then. I predict Prograis is going to beat Terry Flanagan handily.
Easily.
Stoppage in the 4th round. Kubrat Pulev, it's going to be a close fight with Hughie Fury. I think Hughie Fury's going to nick it on points. 7-5, 8-4, something like that. Daniel Jacobs is going to lose badly. Like, really, really badly. He's going to get embarrassingly stopped, and Eddie Hearn's going to look really stupid. But not that stupid, because he also promotes Sergey Derevchenko. He promotes both guys. So he won't look that stupid, but I don't think Danny Jacobs wins that fight. I think
I'm going to go for the upset. I think Derevchenko's going to win it as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jacobs has been fighting 2 low-level opposition. Since he lost to Golovkin, his 2 wins are Luis Arias, not a great win. Sulecki, which actually was a good win. Sulecki's an underrated fighter, but it wasn't the top guys of the division. And so I think Derevchenko is going to jump in there and be a handful. I think his style's going to cause Jacobs a lot of problems. So I actually pick Dorticos to win by either late stoppage or wide decision. And I think John Ryder is probably going to beat Andrei Sirotkin by stoppage in the mid to late rounds. that's all of my my predictions for that.
Yeah.
Then the following weekend, on Saturday the 3rd, there's not many fights, but Miguel Burkelt is fighting Miguel Roman, and Ryan Burnett is fighting Nonito Donaire. So that's in 2 weeks' time. So fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. And then obviously in 3 weeks' time, it's Usyk Bellew. So we got decent boxing every week from now until start of Christmas, really, basically. Fascinating stuff. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, man?
Yeah, this Deontay Wilder fight.
Yeah.
What I wanted to talk about Dillian White's fight options.
Yes, yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
He's got a couple of options, hasn't he? He's got the WBA regular belt against Fresquendo, which has been vacated, and then he's got the option of a Derek Chisora rematch or a Luis Ortiz fight.
The Luis Ortiz fight isn't an option.
It isn't an option.
Ortiz doesn't want it. There's no way he wants it. From everything I understand, they've offered him that fight multiple times. And now Ortiz wants to sign with Eddie Hearn again. And so if he does sign with Eddie Hearn again, then maybe that fight is possible. At the moment,
it makes sense, though, don't it? You know,
not really, because
not financially.
Dillian White is still. It's a good heavyweight fight. I don't rate Luis Ortiz very highly, but it's a good enough heavyweight fight.
He's beaten Derek Chisora. You know, I have to be honest, he beat Derek Chisora handily.
What, Luis Ortiz?
He beat Chisora, yeah.
No. No.
He would.
He wouldn't. He wouldn't. Not after watching what Chisora did to Takam and then watching what Luis Ortiz did with Dave Allen and Malik Scott. No, he wouldn't. No. I have to disagree.
Well, that's your opinion.
I have to say Luis Ortiz is a 48-year-old man with absolutely nothing left to offer the sport. Seriously.
Dillian White would beat him handily. Dillian White would beat him handily. That's why
I don't think there's any need for the fight, though. Dillian White's #1 in the WBC. He can just wait for why would you take on Luis Ortiz?
Well, wouldn't it make sense for him then to forget a Derek Chisora rematch and just go straight for Joshua? That makes more financial sense. You know,
it would if I suppose it would. Just waiting for the Joshua fight. But the problem with that is it would leave you ring rusty. It would leave you.
But if he wants an easy world title, he should fight the WBA belt. Then he can win an easy world title, become a world champion.
Isn't there also another WBA champion? Isn't there Trevor Bryan?
Trevor Bryan beat BJ Flores 2 months ago.
Yeah. So he could take that fight as well. I think the most realistic fights are Oquendo, Trevor Bryan, and Dominic Breazeale. Yeah. I think now that Chisora has signed with David Haye, I actually think that fight won't happen now.
Breazeale, again, is a good fight, but it's a fight I'd expect him to win. I think it makes more sense to go for a belt, you know, like the WBA regular, or, you know, go for a belt instead.
I agree, because the Wilder, we already saw those. You saw the leaked messages, right? Where Wilder said, like, yeah, even if you become the #1, I'm going to make you wait 2 years. So that's why I personally don't think there's any reason to fight Ortiz for the WBC #1. What's the point? You're going to do that, and then you've got to wait 2 years anyway. So that's kind of why I feel like the Ortiz fight is dead in the water. Is because of those
predictions for the Hughie Fury fight. Who do you think will win that?
I did. I said Hughie late stop it. No, I said Hughie points 7-5 or 8-4. Yeah.
Sorry, not with it.
Yeah, no worries. Pardon me, pardon me. Yeah, no, that was interesting. I just think, I think Ortiz is massively overrated. Who's he even beaten in the heavyweight division? Give me one top 10.
I can't really, apart from Brian Jennings, I can't give you any bigger name.
I wouldn't even say
Not
Brian
really.
Jennings top 10.
Tony Thompson,
Not top 10.
no.
Hello? Yeah, I can hear you still. Tony Thompson's his best win.
And then Brian Jennings and probably Malik Scott. They're his three biggest wins. And that's it.
That's terrible. Derek Chisora has way better wins than that on his resume. That's I mean, when you look at it side by side, that I've never understood any of the hype around Luis Ortiz because he's beaten no one of any worth. But
his performance against Wilder was pretty impressive. I have to be honest. The beating he took, and nearly knocked Wilder out, was impressive.
Doesn't it just make Wilder look pretty shit that he couldn't knock out an old man who has never beaten anybody? Let's put it this way: if AJ took that long to knock out Ortiz, and and people looked at the resume of Ortiz and they said, you couldn't beat this guy easily, and he's never beaten anyone, AJ would get mad stick. All of his haters would use it against him. And so I'm just reversing the cards here. I'm just saying, how is that a good... What's he ever done? Really, what's he done in the division to make a mark?
So he's former WBA interim champion, and that counts for a little bit. He's... I don't know.
I suppose it does, but he got it as an interim title, and he beat a guy called Latif Coyote.
Yeah.
And it ended in a no contest because he failed a drugs test afterwards because he's a fucking drug cheat. So, to be honest with you, I just don't really understand why Luis Ortiz is even in the sport of boxing. He's failed 3 drugs tests. He needs to be out. Yeah. He needs to be done.
When is the Tony W fight? Is that next week? Is that next
3 weeks? 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10th.
Okay.
It's going to be a big fight, that. That's going to be a good fight. Usyk's going to win it quite easily, but it's still going to be interesting.
But I think, what else was it? God. Trying to think what else was what I saw.
I saw a couple of things. Let me quickly type in boxing news. Lennox Lewis makes chilling confession about sparring with Mike Tyson 20 years before his original fight. Yeah, he said they sparred together at amateur level, and Lewis recounted what happened when the two met. When he comes out, he's just trying to knock my head off. I was just trying to protect myself because he was coming like a whirlwind. The first day was rough. We sparred for a couple of days, and it got easier after a while. Then there was one time Mike Tyson didn't want me to run around, so he puts his hand down. I gave him a 1-2. All I could hear is, Mike, don't do that. You're going to fight that guy one day. That's funny. That's amusing. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't actually read it. Deontay Wilder has been mocked by fans after his trainer admitted a big truth before his bout against Tyson Fury. The pair have engaged in a war of words for several months, which culminated in a series of press conferences. One of the Gypsy's biggest criticisms of the rival was the caliber of opponents he's faced in his career. The WBC responded by pointing out his victory over 48-year-old Luis Ortiz, a boxer Fury repeatedly mocked for his age, calling him 49 years old. Well, he's right. Paul Smith has literally proven that it's true. Ortiz is almost a 50-year-old man. Wilder's trainer, Jay Diaz, has now admitted there's a problem with Ortiz's age, while speaking about a possible fight with Dillian White. With Ortiz, he's got a great team around him, but he's got an age situation, he said. You don't have to spend two to 3 years building up to something. You've got to do something now, so the quicker the better. Fans have been quick to comment on the video since it was posted by the Boxing Voice. He just admitted Ortiz is old. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. People are just mocking Wilder for his trainer.
He looks old.
He is. He fought Paul Smith in the amateurs at 168. And if that doesn't tell you how old he is, that kind of, it does for me. It explains exactly how old.
Paul Smith is 36.
Yes, but Paul Smith was very young when he fought him, and he said it was at 168 or 175. So it just shows you how young Ortiz must have been at the time. It was like Paul Smith was like 15 or something. Right. There was one other big bit of boxing news.
Yeah, do
that. We talked about Tommy Fury already. But did we talk about... where was it? Dominic Breazeale is going to be fighting. So Dominic Breazeale won't be fighting Chisora because he's gonna. He might actually be fighting Dillian White. We don't know yet, but he's gonna be on the December 22nd Charlo card in America, and Eddie Hearn has said that Dillian White might fight in America. So they're talking about Steve Cunningham, Joe Joyce, Travis Kaufman, Adam Kelnacki, or Charles Martin, possibly Luis Ortiz. So, yeah.
Another person I wanted to do was Joe Joyce. Frustrates me. He frustrates me how slow he is. There's something about him that isn't right. I don't know what it is.
He's a big, slow, plodding heavyweight, that's for sure. Did you see his fight against
Kaladze, yeah.
Largo Kaladze? It was awful. I mean, Joe Joyce is good, but the fight was awful. He's a freak. I think they need to get him in there with the likes of Jarrell Miller or someone that's just going to give him a tough war. I'll tell you a good fight for Joe Joyce. Andy Ruiz Jr. That'd be a good fight. That'd be a real good fight. Good to watch.
I was thinking more or Robert Lennis, someone like that.
Yeah, they're good fights too, but I just think Andy Ruiz Jr.'s got a big enough name and reputation where people would see it as a big step up for Joe Joyce. I think it'd be a good fight. Hellenius too. Hellenius. Sorry? Kalnaki's a good fight, but it's actually a really dangerous fight. Because if there's one puncher, if there's one boxer in the heavyweight division that can throw more punches around than Joe Joyce, it's Kalnacki. Kalnacki actually, him and Dillian White have the record for most punches thrown in a round and thrown for the whole fight. So, yeah, Kalnacki is actually tougher, I would say, than Andy Ruiz Jr.
His defense is terrible, though. His defense is goddamn awful.
Oh, 100%. I don't think he'd beat Joe Joyce. I just think he'd give Joe Joyce a tough night's work. Yeah, I'll tell you another great fight for Joe Joyce. Tony Yoka, but he can't fight Tony Yoka because Tony Yoka's a drug cheat. Literally, he's banned for a year because he didn't turn up for 3 drug tests in a row. So that's a shame. Who's the other guy we always talk about? I think he's like is it Hrgovic?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, Hrgovic would be a decent fight for Joe Joyce. The problem is, Joe Joyce is old, and we just want to see him. If he's going to get to a world title level, if he's ever good enough, he needs to do it soon. Otherwise, he'll be stuck in the same boat as Luis Ortiz, where everyone's calling him a 50-year-old man.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Joe Joyce is surprisingly young in the face for someone as old as he is. Yeah. He's 33, but if you look at him, you probably think he's like 27, 28, 29. You don't look that old, really. He's aged well.
Steady on with the age, then.
No, I'm going to smash people on their ages. That's it. It's over for everyone.
Cheers.
I'm throwing petrol bombs left, right, and centre at the moment. I'll tell you a great piece of news. Tomorrow, 10 p.m. UK time, 25th of October, Tyson Fury is making an appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast. And that will be hilarious. Shannon Briggs has been on Joe Rogan before. Teddy Atlas went on recently. And they actually gave him some shit. They actually gave Teddy Atlas some good questions and got good interview out of him. So let's hope they can do the same for Tyson Fury. I mean, I think it would be good if they have Wilder on soon as well before the fight. If they can have Fury, Wilder, Shelley Finkel, and then Eddie Hearn. That'd be a great promotion for the fight in America. And not Eddie Hearn, sorry. Tyson, Frank Warren, I suppose, is Fury's promoter at this moment in time. So, yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
But also, I do think they should try and get Eddie Hearn on the Joe Rogan podcast because it'll be funny as fuck. And they got to ask him some questions about some questions regarding snitching. I think that would be interesting.
Deary me. I hope we don't get sued one day.
Alleged. I've covered all my bases, don't worry about it. Alleged. There we go. I've said it 5 times.
That's a video on his Twitter page.
Who?
Yeah.
What, me?
Yeah, on Eddie Hearn said he's a scumbag.
Screaming at him. No, he gets enough of that on Twitter. I think what would be more amusing is seeing him in an interview with Joe Rogan and having... So, you know, he's got this beef with Shelley Finkel about the Wilder fight. Having them both on the podcast and then having Joe Rogan being like the moderator, it would be great. It would be good. You'd actually get answers because if someone tried to dodge the question, Joe Rogan would be like, hang on, answer the fucking question. So, yeah, I think it'd be good. It'd be good. I'm looking forward to Tyson Fury's episode. I'll post it on Facebook for people to check out. But I'm going to have to leave it there, man. I got some other stuff to get on with and do today. And
okay.
I'm back. Probably we will be back next week because there's some great fights happening this weekend. So
see everybody next week. Bye.
Peace out, everyone. Catch you soon.